Let me tell you something that most people never realize until it's too late. You'll never be successful if you keep ignoring what's actually holding you back. And I'm not talking about your job, your bank account, or your lack of time. I'm talking about the small, subtle ways you betray your potential every single day. You scroll instead of showing up. You wait for motivation instead of creating momentum. You listen to your fears more than your inner fire. And you ignore the one truth that can change everything. Your life won't change unless you do. Success isn't about talent. It's not about luck. It's about getting radically honest with yourself. If you keep ignoring the little voice inside you that tells you you were made for more, then guess what? You'll stay right where you are, stuck. It's not that you don't have time, it's that you don't make it. It's not that you're not ready, it's that you're scared. And it's not that you can't, it's that you won't yet. Every excuse you make becomes a brick in the wall between you and your success. But here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. You are the wall, and you are also the wrecking ball. Success begins the moment you stop waiting, stop wishing, and start moving. You don't need to be perfect. You don't even need to be confident. You just need to start. And if you ignore that, then yes, you'll never be successful. There is a quiet voice inside you that doesn't shout, it whispers. And for most people, that voice gets drowned out by noise, by notifications, by comparison, by fear. But that voice is your truth. It's the part of you that knows what you really want. It knows when you're meant for more, even if no one else sees it. And when you keep ignoring it, when you silence it with distractions or routines, that's not just avoidance, that's sabotage. Because that voice, that's your compass. It's the spark of something real, something powerful. It tells you to take the shot, make the call, start the thing. But instead of listening, you argue with it, you rationalize. You say things like, maybe later, or I don't think I'm ready, or what if I fail? You ignore the call and then you wonder why you feel stuck. Let me be blunt. Success doesn't come to the loudest person. It comes to the one who listens to their gut, listens to their instincts, listens to the uncomfortable truth that they've been avoiding. Most people are waiting for someone else to tell them what to do, but the real answers, they're already inside you. You just stopped listening. That voice telling you to get up early and start working on your idea, that's the version of you who's already successful trying to pull you forward. That moment when you feel uncomfortable staying in the same place, that's the internal alarm saying move. But you hit snooze. You distract yourself. You scroll, snack, sleep, anything to avoid the confrontation. And every time you do, you distance yourself from the life you actually want. People think failure comes from trying and not succeeding. But the real failure is never trying at all. It's ignoring the nudge, the signal, the spark. And here's the real kicker. The longer you ignore your inner voice, the quieter it gets. Not because it's gone, but because you've trained yourself not to hear it. Your brain wants comfort, but your soul craves growth. And the longer you choose comfort, the more uncomfortable your life becomes. You'll feel anxious, unsatisfied, bored, jealous. These are all symptoms of ignoring your own potential. Because when you aren't moving forward, everything around you starts to feel like it's closing in. Now let's flip this. What happens when you finally start listening? When you tune into that whisper and decide to move? It's not easy, but it's powerful. Things start to align. Opportunities show up. Your energy changes. People feel it. You're not just surviving. You're stepping into something bigger. And guess what? That voice inside you gets louder, clearer. It becomes your guide, your coach, your inner fire. You don't need more motivation. You don't need another podcast or permission slip. You need courage. Courage to stop lying to yourself. Courage to listen to the part of you that still believes in something greater. That part that says, let sex go. We waited long enough. Ignoring your inner voice is like ignoring a map in the middle of a desert. You might keep walking, but you'll be lost. Listening doesn't mean everything will be perfect, but it means you'll be moving in the right direction. Your direction, and that's where success lives. Stop pretending you don't know what to do. You do. Stop telling yourself you're not ready. You are. Stop drowning out the whisper that's trying to change your life. Turn down the noise. Get still. And when you hear that voice again, don't just listen, act. Because if you keep ignoring it, success won't just be hard, it'll stay impossible. And that would be a shame, because everything you want is waiting on the other side of listening. People waste years of their lives waiting to feel ready, waiting for the right time, waiting for confidence. They believe that something magical has to happen before they can take the first step. But that's not how success works. It doesn't wait for you to feel prepared. It doesn't show up after you've mapped out every possible scenario. It comes to those who are willing to move, even while they're afraid. If you think you need to be perfect before you start, you'll never start. And if you never start, you never succeed. That's the truth most people run from, because starting feels scary. It's messy. It's uncomfortable. It exposes your insecurities, your doubts, your flaws. But it's also the only thing that creates progress. You can't learn to swim by standing on the shore, reading about water. You have to jump in. You have to be okay with not knowing everything. You have to trust that clarity comes through movement, not overthinking. Success doesn't care about your intentions. It doesn't care about your excuses. It only responds to action. If you want it, you have to show up before you feel like it. That's the deal. That's the price. You can't think your way into confidence. You earn it by doing the thing you're afraid of. And every time you take action, even the smallest step, you build momentum. You shift your identity. You stop seeing yourself as the person who hesitates and start becoming the person who moves. That shift is everything. It's where belief starts. It's where resilience grows. It's where your life begins to change. You can have the best intentions in the world. You can journal, visualize, meditate, and plan. But if you don't act, it's all noise. It's all comfort disguised as productivity. There are people out there with half your talent achieving twice as much. Not because they're better, but because they stopped waiting and started doing. They didn't need permission. They gave it to themselves. And that's what you have to do. No one's coming to rescue you. No one's going to push you out of bed at 5 a.m. No one's going to force you to show up for your goals. That's on you. And the sooner you take ownership, the sooner everything changes. Don't wait until it's perfect. It never will be. Don't wait until the fear goes away. It might not, but that doesn't matter. You move anyway. You show up anyway. You take one uncomfortable step and then another. You keep showing up until it becomes who you are. Success isn't handed to you when you're ready. It's earned while you're still shaky, while your voice still trembles, while your hands still sweat. That's when it counts the most. That's what makes you strong. And that's what creates real, lasting change. If you sit around waiting to feel motivated, you'll be stuck forever. Motivation comes and goes. But action builds consistency. It builds identity. It builds belief. The more you do, the more you realize you can do. That's the power of movement. That's how you go from stuck to unstoppable. So stop hesitating. Stop convincing yourself that you're not ready. You're ready enough. All you need is one moment of courage, one choice, one push. And from there, everything starts. You don't need perfection. You need movement, because success doesn't reward the most talented. It rewards the most relentless. Every time you say, I don't have time, or I'll do it later, or it's not the right moment, what you're really doing is laying another brick in the wall between you and the life you want. Excuses don't sound like lies when you say them often enough. They start to feel like truth. But here's the uncomfortable reality. Your excuses are not your truth. They're just well-rehearsed habits you use to avoid doing the hard stuff. And every single one of those excuses is stealing your future from you. You think you're protecting yourself. You think you're being realistic. But all you're doing is building your own prison, one thought at a time. You say you're tired, but you're scrolling for hours at night. You say you're overwhelmed, but you're avoiding the exact actions that would bring you clarity. You say you don't have what it takes, but deep down you haven't even tried with everything you've got. And the worst part? You know it. There's a part of you that knows your excuses are the reason you're not where you want to be. But it's easier to blame your circumstances than it is to take full ownership. Because when you take ownership, you also take responsibility for doing something about it. That's scary. But that's also where everything changes. Excuses are seductive. They feel safe. They give you an out, but they also give you regret. They keep you in the loop of maybe someday while time passes and nothing happens. You see other people moving forward, people with more problems than you, more limitations than you, less experience than you, and yet they're doing the things you say you can't. That should tell you something. The issue isn't the outside world, it's the stories you're telling yourself. And as long as you keep repeating those stories, you stay stuck. Here's a harsh truth. No one successful got there by making excuses. They got there by taking action despite the excuses, despite the fear, the doubt, the limitations. They showed up. They kept showing up. Even when it was hard, even when it was uncomfortable, even when they had every reason to quit because they understood that the cost of excuses is far greater than the cost of effort. You can live with pain now or regret later, but one of them is unavoidable. Every excuse you make is just resistance in disguise. Resistance to change, resistance to growth, resistance to discomfort. But success is built on the other side of resistance. If you want what you've never had, you have to do what you've never done. That means calling out your own BS. That means catching yourself in the moment when you're about to say, I can't, and instead asking, what if I tried? It means replacing excuses with effort, because effort is what moves the needle. Excuses just keep the wheel spinning in place. Think about this. If someone followed you around for a week and tracked every time you chose an excuse over action, what would they see? Would they see a person who's committed to change, or someone who talks about dreams but avoids the steps? You don't need someone watching over you. You need to start watching yourself. Be brutally honest. Hold yourself to a higher standard. Stop letting your future be stolen by your present comfort. Every time you choose to push past an excuse, you win a battle inside your mind. And every one of those little victories builds the discipline, the belief, and the momentum that carries you forward. You don't overcome excuses all at once. You beat them in the small moments. When you get up early instead of hitting snooze. When you say no to distractions and yes to focus. When you take the meeting, make the call, hit publish, record the video, even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. Because if you keep feeding your excuses, they'll grow stronger than your drive. But if you starve them, if you stop giving them attention, stop giving them power, your goals get louder. Your vision gets clearer. You stop living small and start acting like someone who's not here to waste time. You were not born to repeat the same day for the rest of your life. You were made to rise, to stretch, to break patterns and build something real. And that starts the moment you stop letting excuses be the default answer. There comes a point when you have to stop blaming everything around you and start looking in the mirror. Not with shame, not with guilt, but with full, raw honesty. Because self-honesty is the foundation of every breakthrough you've ever wanted. You can't change what you won't admit. And most people spend their whole lives avoiding that admission. They lie to themselves in little ways. They say they're trying when they're barely showing up. They say they're busy when they're just distracted. They say they're stuck when they're actually just scared. Those lies are comfortable. They keep your ego safe, but they keep your life small. When you finally decide to stop sugarcoating your own patterns, you wake up. You stop saying, "I don't have time," and start admitting, "I haven't made it a priority." You stop saying, "I don't know what to do," and start owning, "I've been avoiding what I know I need to do." That level of honesty stings at first, but it also frees you, because now finally you're dealing with reality, and reality is the only place you can build something real. If your life isn't where you want it to be, there is a reason, and it's not because of your boss, your parents, your past, or the algorithm. It's because of the choices you're making right now, the routines you've accepted, the fears you let drive the wheel. That doesn't mean you're broken. It doesn't mean you're not trying. It just means that something needs to shift, and that shift starts inside. When you look yourself in the eye and say, "I can do better, I deserve better, and I'm not going to lie to myself anymore." That level of honesty is rare, but it's the turning point. It's the moment you stop being a victim of your own patterns and start becoming the architect of your next level. And you don't need to announce it. You don't need to post about it. You just need to live it. Quietly, consistently, relentlessly. You'll be amazed at how fast your life starts moving when you stop standing in your own way. People spend years running from the truth about themselves. They hide behind busyness. They drown their awareness in entertainment. But the truth always waits, and the longer you avoid it, the heavier life feels. It starts to wear you down, not because life is cruel, but because you're fighting a battle inside that you refuse to name. The second you name it, the second you say, "I've been playing small," or "I've been making excuses," or "I've been afraid to fail," you take your power back. You're not weak for having flaws. You're strong for facing them. Self-honesty doesn't mean beating yourself up. It means stepping into your own authority. It means seeing your patterns for what they are and deciding that they don't get to run the show anymore. It means choosing growth over ego, truth over comfort, and future over fear. That's what winners do. They don't pretend to have it all figured out. They just tell themselves the truth faster than other people do. If you're not being honest with yourself, nothing you build will last. The foundation will be cracked. The goals won't be aligned with who you really are. The success won't feel fulfilling, if it even comes at all. But when you operate from a place of truth, everything gets clearer. You stop chasing things that don't matter. You stop tolerating what drains you. You start building habits that actually support your vision, not sabotage it. The truth is powerful, but only if you're brave enough to face it. And once you do, you'll realize that the most important conversations you'll ever have are the ones you have with yourself. In the dark, in the silence, when no one's watching and no one's applauding, that's where real transformation begins. Not with another plan, not with another vision board, but with a moment of radical self-awareness that says, "This stops now. I'm ready for more." If you want to change your life, start by telling yourself the truth. Then act like someone who believes it. No more hiding, no more pretending. This is your turning point, but only if you're honest enough to take it.